What's up? This is Scott Stapp, and you're listening to Appetite for Distortion with Brando.
You know where you are. I said,
This is Appetite for Distortion.
And welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, episode 221. My name is Brando. So excited for today's guest. Someone I've wanted to talk to, well, basically my entire career, because everyone called me Scott Stapp when I was younger and had long hair, but more about that in a minute. Because, well, Scott Stapp is our guest for today. I'm so excited. If you've been listening to this podcast since the beginning, I've definitely not hid my feelings about my fandom of Creed. His solo work is great, and we're going to talk about his solo work today, and of course the 6 degrees of GNR Bacon that he has. And after the interview, we'll do some Mr. Maelstone. How does that sound? We haven't done that in a while. But first, hey, Scott.
Hey, what's up, Brandon?
That's me. It's really nice to meet
man.
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you over the phone. How you doing?
This has been, I wanted to talk to you for so long, just growing up on your music. When I was younger and had hair, people would say I looked like you. It was just, so it's just, I just want to say before we start, it's just a privilege to get to speak with you today, because I know you're a busy guy.
Oh, man. Well, thanks so much for the kind words, and it's an honor to speak with you too, my friend.
Thank you. And I got to say, I know we're just meeting, but I'm so proud of just where you've come. And I was recently just talking to Donnie V from former Enough's Enough, and he is 5 years sober. I often talk about mental health and sobriety on the show. Come December, it'll be 5 years for me without a drink. And I know you've obviously, you talked publicly about mental health and your struggles, which has helped me, and it helped, of course, many of your other fans. But this song you have is another message that we get to learn from the world I used to know. I guess I want to know, with that, was there a specific event that inspired you to write it, or is it just the overall chaos of what's going on right now?
I think that at the time the song was written, subconsciously, I think that I was just feeling and sensing the underbelly of what was already happening that hadn't just fully exploded like we've seen this year. I'm sure that via the news and other press outlets, that I was reading or whatnot, was giving me that impression, and so I think it just came out, as an observation of what was manifesting at a much smaller scale. But then, here we are today, and the volcano has erupted.
It's like every day you turn on the TV and just something has just gotten worse, and there's more unrest, which is why I appreciate the avenue that you're using. Because the song came out, off your last album, of course, The Space Between the Shadows, but the lyric video just came out for National Voter Registration Day. So yeah. I guess I want to ask, I like that what you did with it, having a very hard rock song in a lyric video, as opposed to maybe where a lot of musicians, and maybe you can give me your opinion on this, just going on Twitter or just talking like that, just kind of just tweeting and retweeting, and maybe not using their bread and butter, so to speak, in putting the words to music. So is there, do you prefer a preference, or is this just like the best way to express yourself is always through music?
I mean, from my standpoint, it's always the best scenario when your art can be the voice and do the talking for you. I think it was just a serendipitous situation, but I also feel that if you don't have something that lines up like I did with this song and this lyric video, I definitely think that it's totally appropriate, and I support the other artists and entertainers and those with a platform using it to express their feelings and encouraging those that look up to them and follow them to do something positive, like, vote. No matter what side you're on or whether you're right down the middle trying to make a decision, I think educating people and raising awareness that the way we can make change in our democratic republic is through our vote. And that's an important message to put out there. And so, I support, however that message gets out, but it's awesome when what you do creatively and as an artist lines up with a message that you want to get out.
And especially with this song, as I mentioned, it's just a hard rockin', just the Scott Stapp I grew up with. It's not like a folk song or, kumbaya. It's just in your face with a message. And that's just, it reaches people like me. I get it. It doesn't come off as preachy. It's just a great hard rock song with a message, which it always should be.
Thanks, man. I mean, I think musically it represents what I was feeling and tapping into these emotions. I think what we're seeing out there in the world right now, not just politically, but because of this, pandemic that's happened, there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of ashes burning just under the skin. And I think that, having that rock and heavy music behind it, and the aggression that I'm singing with in the song, I think it fits. I think it's a motif that kind of fits as the soundtrack, in my opinion, to a lot of what's going on with how people are feeling and how emotionally invested people are, not only in the political world we live in nowadays, but also in life and in trying to overcome this pandemic. It's just interesting how it all played out.
How are you handling quarantine? Because obviously you're busy, promoting. You're still hot off the heels of The Space Between the Shadows, and obviously promoting this lyric video. But are you writing? Are you binge watching anything? How are you handling quarantine?
Well, it's gone through phases. Initially, I just hunkered down with my family and my kids, and just dove into daddy husband mode, and just really took advantage of the opportunity I had to spend this extra time with my kids and my wife. I was also promoting a new single right at the beginning, so I was still working, but from home. Technology affords us that ability. Some of us to be able to continue to do Zoom meetings, Zoom interviews. In lieu of visiting radio stations, I was doing Zoom calls and phone calls. And then after that phase passed, I continued, of course, with the kids and looking for projects. We started a little farm and built a chicken coop and had chickens and ducks and raised them from little chickies to now they're big ducks or big chickens and they're free range, but they got a place to go at night that's safe. And so that was a project we did. We've had other projects just trying to stay busy. And then, of course, there's a little, just itch, trying to figure out, what do I do? I want to work, but I can't. We found a way to socially distance through Zoom and other formats, a concert, and put that out, a mini concert, and put that out for the fans.
Great.
And then I think everything started to sink in even deeper with what was going on in the world, and songs began to come, especially over the last couple months. A lot of writing, a lot of singing into my cell phone as melodies, as riffs, as other ways that I create songs come to me. I document them and then go back and begin to write. So it's really kind of been an evolution. And I think I've felt the same concern, the same worry, the same fear at times, the same frustration as probably everyone has at some point. I know everyone has it at a different level, as I'm fortunate enough in my life to be able, to weather, not being on the road for 6 to 9 months. It's tough, man. It's definitely not been easy.
It is tough. And I'm lucky because I'm working from home right now. I'm in my apartment in Queens. I'm normally in a studio and at iHeartRadio in Tribeca. So we all got to adapt. But everything you're talking about is one of the reasons what makes you so relatable. You were never on this pillar. You were just a very tangible person with very similar feelings that we all have. And I know I don't have you here forever. So I wanted to, as this is Appetite for Distortion podcast, when I announced that you were coming on the show, and a lot of people were excited and saying people who met you were the nicest people, and someone shared a picture I hadn't seen before. As I mentioned, I thought I saw all of the pictures of you since I looked like you in high school, and everyone would say, send me all pictures and text me pictures of you all the time. It was a picture of you, Slash, Miles Kennedy, and Mark Tremonti, and I guess I want to ask you, because as I mentioned earlier, I talk about mental health and addiction a lot, and talked about Slash, and talked about Duff and Steven Adler. So I guess I'm just curious what experiences you may have, those worlds colliding. Have you crossed worlds at all with Guns N' Roses or maybe Velvet Revolver at the time?
I crossed paths with Slash years ago at the Sunset Marquee in L.A. Back in probably the first time I crossed paths with him. In probably 1998-ish. And then across, I'm sure, I can't remember every situation, but bumped into him here or there in passing. And then, of course, the photo that you saw. But always just hey, how are you? That's it. Nothing beyond that. But he's a musical icon. He's a legend, and have much respect and admiration for the work that he's done and the legacy that he has left in music. And big fan of Guns N' Roses, man.
Right on. I guess because I was hoping that, because I've said for a long time to my listeners that if Velvet Revolver was, because they tried finding a new lead singer. Before Scott passed, but when he was fired, and I always thought you would have been a perfect fit. So there was part of me hoping that was a secret somewhere, that you would have been thought of as a new lead singer for Velvet Revolver. But I guess only in my dreams that happens.
Interesting. That's an interesting thought.
All right. Well, I'll let you think about it. Maybe, who knows, in the future, everyone's bored right now. Maybe you'll do something together. Who knows? Again, that'll probably just be a dream of mine. Scott, just thank you so much. I know you have a lot to get to today. Is there anything that you want to leave us with as far as what we could look forward to, whether it's another single release? And I mean, I know you mentioned some of the Zoom shows or the Facebook Live shows, but is there anything specific that you want to perhaps get us excited about?
Yeah, I think let me backtrack a little bit. I'm definitely focused on World I Used to Know right now, and just getting the word out. With that track, it's a track that I had always intended on releasing. It just felt like the time was now, and so I'm excited to share that with the fans and with those who may not know of my solo music. And so that's exciting. And then I'm creating new music, and so I'm excited that when that comes fully into fruition, I can share that
Great.
With the rock community, and then for those that are still at home or didn't see, I did an acoustic show online and played some really heavy tunes, man, acoustic, so you can find that on my Facebook page, on my Instagram page. And we'll make sure to get you the exact locations and lengths for that, because for those folks out there that like to hear heavy riff-driven tunes played acoustic but with that same energy, I think it's right up their alley, man.
Of course. I mean, again, this is a GNR themed podcast, and they have a lot of acoustics. So this is, right up my alley. It's right up my listeners' alley. So, I'll share it on my social media as well, because I have yet to check that out. So I'm actually excited I'll probably check it out as soon as we hang up. Scott,
awesome, man.
This was a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. I hope we get to do this again.
Yeah, it would be awesome, man. And thank you so much for your time, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Amazing. And I'm not lying about being a huge Creed fan. I remember in high school, in my CD player, Human Clay lived in there for years. I remember one time we were watching, I guess, like some shitty movie in class. It was just one of those days with the sub. And I just decided to listen to my CD. And I had Human Clay on blast. I didn't realize how loud it was. So some girl came up to me and was like, "Can you turn that down?" Oh, sorry about that. That I'm blasting my Creed. This was before it was quote unquote cool to hate on them, which dumb. Same thing with Nickelback. Just dumb. They're talented bands. You don't have to like certain bands or artists, but I think the word suck really just belongs to like Beavis and Butthead. You know what I mean? And I saw Creed, I think it was 2002 at the Nassau Coliseum when the Islanders used to play. They used to play. They were supposed to split time this year before the pandemic there. That's another story. I saw them with Jerry Cantrell and I believe 12 Stones. So all these years later to talk to him. And as many of you saw when I teased the interview with Scott, that it is true. I posted a picture of myself when I was younger, early 20s with long hair, and I did look like Scott Stapp. It kind of annoyed me at the time, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I guess just like how kids are. You look like this, But as soon as there was a VH1, when VH1 had those like top 100 countdowns of hard rock songs or one-hit wonders, you remember back in the day when not just MTV played music, but VH1 did. And they did the top 100 sexiest artists of all time. And keep in mind, this was several years ago. Scott Stapp, I remember, was 83. So he was the number 3 sexiest artist of all time at the time. So that's when I started taking the compliment. Well, I wasn't going to say that to Scott and make it weird right away. Let's keep it weird, though. Okay, because I know that's what you like. So my weird segment, my weird soundbite for fan mail, we like to call Mr. Mailstone.
Here's the mail, it never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail.
So I haven't done this in a while. I want to read your comments. And there are many avenues you can reach out to me, and I look at them all. You can always email me at the afdshow@gmail.com, facebook.com/the AFD show, Twitter @the AFD show, Appetite for Distortion, on Instagram. I've started to upload a lot more interviews to YouTube, specifically the ones that are done by Zoom. The visual aspects of it. They all were living on Facebook, but now, let's just put them on YouTube, and it's probably an easier find. So however you reach out to me, I kind of collected them all, or a choice few, and I want to read them back. Okay? This one I got from Sneed Rock. Brando! The Dez interview was amazing. Honestly, I've never been a Cold Chamber or Devil Driver fan, but that was so good. Honestly, I'm with you, Sneed. I respect the hell out of Cold Chamber and Devil Driver, but I'm not always the biggest fan of the screaming vocals. Maybe when it's like a kill switch engage where it's in and out of the clean and the hard vocals. But still, when I had the opportunity to interview Dez from Devil Driver, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. The guy is a legend in that genre. And wow, what a conversation it was. It was on the same episode as Dave Mustaine. And we just started talking about, not just music, but sobriety and mental health. And he was just a cool dude, just a really cool dude. And it's funny, I don't usually sign on to Skype normally, but that's how I spoke to Dez, and I signed on the other day, like probably for the first time since I interviewed him. I saw a message from him saying, keep this number, brother. So I guess Dez loved the interview too. So thank you. Next up, we got Luca. Hello, Brando. Just a random check-in since I listened to the interview with Tracy Amos. You're still doing a great job. All these episodes later. Keep rocking and stay happy and healthy. Thank you, Luca. So obviously I'm getting to some comments I haven't had for a while. I mean, Tracy Amos wasn't too long ago. That's also one of the interviews since that was done on Zoom that is on YouTube. And Luca is like many of you, just randomly sending me messages throughout the years of just encouragement. Not really wanting anything, just nice, kind words. So thank you, Luca. Just simply, this is from Dana from Iowa. Just want to give you a shout out because I see your comment on a lot of stuff. Enjoy your shows. Keep up the great work. Thank you. See, just short, simple, and makes me feel good. This is from Rafael from Brazil, and forgive me if I mispronounce the the city that you're from. Hello, man. I'm a fan here from Minas Gerais. I probably should have just skipped it because I'm just embarrassing myself. I just remember in high school just struggling with Spanish. I wish I had that brain. So from Brazil, forgive me. You could laugh at me, Raphael. I went to the MetLife show. So he's from Brazil and he went all the way to New Jersey to see the same show I saw a few years ago. I like your podcasts. Thanks for not keeping them informed. Then New York says sorry for my English. My intention was to thank you. I know I make mistakes in writings in peace. Well, that's totally fine, man. I love that. I love when people reach out from other countries. And I need to expand my intellect. I need to know how to pronounce other countries. And the fact that, if English is not your first language and you listen to my podcast, whoa, that's the ultimate, I think, because I don't know how hard it is, for you. You may understand English, but you have to, listen to it a couple times. I don't know. Raphael is smarter than me. So I get messages like that a lot. And even when I get comments in other languages, it's cool because Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook just have a translate button right there. So certainly I have listeners all over the world. And that's how it's possible, really, because I am a goon and I can't speak other languages. I in Hebrew school, at one point, I knew how to read Hebrew, but at the time, I didn't even know what I was saying. I just knew what I was saying to get bar mitzvah. It's terrible. Next one up, we got Poncho from Texas. Hey, Brando. I followed your blog for a couple years. I guess you can call it a blog. A combination of the videos that I do, not just the video interviews, but I've done some just videos talking to you, the things that I post and the podcast. So if you want to combine them all, it could be a blog. Sure. Great stuff. My favorite stuff is when you dig way back into the unknown peeps who were connected with GNR back in their early days. On a side note, I do portrait art as a hobby and have a slash portrait I would love to send you. I'll send you a print if that's possible. Not looking for anything in return. I'm just a big Guns N' Roses fan too and thought you might dig it. Well, he sent me the photo of what it's going to look like, and it's incredible. Really incredible. I mean, the fact that he's willing to send me that is so kind. I've gotten some of those over the years. I remember, I wish I could remember the handle's name, but this is when Ian was still on the show. This was early on. Just seeing the magic of just being a Guns N' Roses fan and how it connects people. Someone sent us pins, and I still have an Axl Rose pin. His high top shoes on my leather jacket, my jean jacket, and there was one of a milk carton that says "Where's Izzy?" So there were just pins, and I remember that back in the day. So I'll certainly post the picture of when I get the your art. And let me just say, because I've started to post a lot of the fan art, especially on Instagram. Whoa. I mean, not just, let's just talk about, we were just talking about like the talent to speak multiple languages, but wow, some of the fan art on a Guns N' Roses fan art online that you can find is just mind blowing. It really is. I would love for one day GNR's social media to start like sharing those, because some of these drawings deserve to be seen, like more than just, I guess, this, because these aren't like, I guess, professional artists that are putting this on like DeviantArt or just Google Images, or just that's what all I do. I just Google GNR fan art, and of course I always credit the person, but because I want more people to see it, because some of them are just, again, breathtaking. I guess. Sorry, I just watched Seinfeld. I also, so those are some specific messages, but I noticed, because I tweeted this and I really did appreciate the response. I wasn't sure what I was going to get from it, but speaking of people with talent that maybe not many people see, talking about the drawings and just you want more eyes to see it. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie, it bums me out when I see GNR fan pages that have thousands upon thousands of followers, and all they do is share old pictures that they have no ownership of. It's usually not always accompanied by any sort of thought-provoking question. It's just pictures with hashtags, and I mean, that's great. I mean, it's really no big deal. That's what a fan site is. But when you got me and I'm doing original interviews, and I do get these rare pictures, sometimes from guests, their own pictures that they send me to share. And I've said before, thankfully, that I work for iHeart. I do this podcast kind of as my own thing, but it ties into my real job sometimes. So I have access to some Getty images. So some crisp, clear pictures from professional Getty photographers that I share with you that no one really else has access to. You have to have a paid account to Getty to get them. And iHeart allowed me to use their account, and I share Guns N' Roses pictures with you. So, I share these rare things, quizzes, polls, thought-provoking questions, and the interaction with my listenership, I think, is bar none. So you all are incredible. But when I look at my Twitter following, it depresses me at times. I don't like saying that, but I admit it. So let me read some of the comments on that thread. Let's start here. This was from Good Times Dad. I like that handle. Truth is, unless you're really trying to make a living off it, number of followers doesn't matter. Quality of followers beats quantity. And I know I appreciate what you do. So thank you, Good Times Dad. And well, that's true in a bit. I certainly would never ever pay for followers, but the truth is, managers and labels do look at following, because how many people have a podcast? Everyone and their mother has a podcast. So for me just to reach out, even when I say I work for iHeartRadio, which helps me, but they still look. Thankfully, I've reached a point where I've had a very impressive guest list, so resume, so to speak. Plenty of news articles written about my interviews, including recently. So shout out to Ultimate Guitar and Tone Deaf for picking up my interview with Joe Miller, the former roadie of STP and GNR, who wrote a really cool book on Amazon. And that's cool. It was even like with a big name guest, and I'm getting those kinds of interviews picked up and translated, or transcribed rather. And that's what helps me continue to get bigger and bigger guests. That's what helped me get Dee Snider. Honestly, that person said, "Oh, I love your guest list." His label said, "I love your guest list. What's Dee's 6 degrees of GNR bacon?" So that helps me. But at the end of the day, or maybe at first glance, a higher following does help. And obviously you want more people to follow you, because that means that more people know about you. And so, I mean, I don't want to keep going down that road, but the messages that you sent of support, I didn't know if that was going to come off obnoxious, because I said, and I'll say it again here, I'm not proud that this bothers me, but it does. So I want to read some of the other than Good Times Dad. I gave Cynthia Waller, so another great follower of this podcast, said, "You're so right, Brando. Same picks over and over again. Your content is fresh, new, and original. You are my favorite and top page I personally go to. Thank you for all you do. I will start retweeting more." Thank you. I really appreciate that. So yeah, retweeting and sharing really does help. Geraldine, I believe she's from France. I appreciate your work. Thank you, and don't give up. No, I'm not giving up. Certainly not giving up. It's just, you can't help but get frustrated sometimes, or just scratch your head and be like, why? Why does this website, have this amount of followers? And it just doesn't make sense, Dave Holmes, I believe he is Super Furry Chub. He's the best handle ever. He's been on the podcast before for Fan Obsession. You do a great job, Brando. Keep up the good work, brother. Laura and Andy, that's one page. You're my fave GNR page, if that helps, which it does. The great Brandino, not me. That's another person, said, "Stay the course, man. Love the content. Love it." Mark Lyons Only McCahill, who's been a loyal follower. "You'll get there, Brando. All the true GNR fans know what a great job you're doing and bringing us solid content. Thank you." J.K. Anderson said, "Thank you for doing what you do." Blue Jean Baby, you are awesome. Leonardo DS, great job, Brando. So many great and original stories. Keep up the great work. And let me see what else, because I can keep going, which is just like, it made me feel so well. I'll give this person a shout out. I'll wrap it up here. Original Misfit. Hey, all you the rock dedicated GNR fans, know who you are. For me, this is the only GNR fan site I follow, not including past and present members. So I more than understand your frustrations. And I just checked a retweet of your post. They got more likes than for the retweet, not my original post. So, social media, it's weird. It just really is. But I'm not giving up. Of course not. Again, it's just like a head scratcher. And you know what? After I posted that, I got a bunch more followers. So sometimes maybe the Jewish guilt works. But you have no idea how much I appreciate every single one of you that either responded to that specific tweet or just randomly reaches out with words of encouragement and support. I can't express how much that means. I listen back to some of the older episodes and I say this a lot, but it's what keeps me going. It's why I've been doing this podcast for so long and gives me the platform to interview people like Scott Stapp and to keep going. So as long as you keep supporting, I'll keep pushing, and maybe one day we'll get some of the OG, the Appetite 5 on this podcast. Stranger things have happened. So until next time, when will you see the next episode of Appetite for Distortion? Well, in the words of Axl Rose once concerning Chinese democracy, you'll see it. I don't know if soon is the word.
Thanks to the lame ass security, I'm going home.